The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
Best worst case scenario for the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins last year just on the taint of the playoffs.
The taint.
Yeah, they were just about there. But they're stuck in that realm of not being in the playoffs and not being bad enough to really improve your team. However, they really did. They had the picks from previous years that they were able to turn around and get that high draft pick. So this year, it all hinges on the quarterback, the development of their number one pick from last year, Tua Tagovailoa.
Best case scenario for the Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa.
That's right. Buy now, because he starts balling like he did at Alabama, you're going to wish you had shares of Tua Tagovailoa. To me, it's a risk that I'm willing to take. I think he's got the weapons. I think year two is going to be better. He's got the ability to make better decisions. He was actually one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL last year.
I'm going to need you to explain that metric.
There were a lot of drops, and there were some bad decisions that he made. He threw, let's see here. It was 10 interceptable passes last year he threw.
He threw 10 interceptable passes in one game, by the way. By the way, you said he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league.
Yes.
How many qualifying quarterbacks had a lower completion percentage last year than Tua Tagovailoa?
Don't know.
It's 6. And one of them was Dwayne Haskins. Mm-hmm. Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, and Baker fucking Mayfield. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to tell you, I saw enough from Tua last year that I'm scared. If I were the Dolphins, and look, I understand he's got the legal thing. I would have made the run at Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. I think this team could win a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson. I think they're going to struggle to make the playoffs with Tua Tagovailoa. Here's the problem. I am starting to see in Tua the exact same thing that I saw in Matt Leinart. You have always just had unbelievable weapons around you, and you never developed that next gear. You never learned how to be the best player on your team. It was always just get the ball to a playmaker and let him go. That's where I'm at with Tua. Do you realize that he had 4 first-round draft picks at Alabama? Mm-hmm. 4 at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. I'm just getting to the point where I don't know that it's ever going to work. And look, if it does, more power to you. I had reservations about him in the draft. I said I thought he was very safe to be what he was going to be, because I think he is exactly what you saw last year. 2-to-1 touchdown to interception guy, 63, 64, 65% completion percentage. Captain check down that never pushes the ball downfield. That's what I think you have in this guy. Now you have weapons. The bad thing for me is Miami's now built for a Matthew Stafford type quarterback. Guy with the big arm that can press things downfield, because you do have Jalen Waddle, who's just an elite deep threat, and Will Fuller, who's a hell of a deep threat. Mm-hmm. I don't think you have a quarterback that can make that work.
I fully disagree with you.
I
think he can make that work. I think part of it last year was they didn't want to put him in a position to make too many mistakes, so they limited his shots down the field. When he did take shots down the field last year, he made some highlight plays. Now, his completion percentage wasn't that great when he threw it down the field. And yes, I get that he kept everything short, and so that probably plays into, his accuracy. He didn't work well under pressure. To me, that's not an accuracy thing. That's a decision-making thing. I don't know. To me, I think it was just too much to expect him to come in and be that guy in year one.
Well, they put him in a shitty situation. I've said that numerous times.
Coming off of the injury that he had at Alabama, there was no off season. He had Devontae Parker. Woo-hoo! But other than that, yay, Mike Gesicki. That's the number 2 guy on the team that you trust. He's got no running game. I just feel like they went out and realized we need to get him weapons. So they went out and got him weapons. They got him Will Fuller. Now, granted, Will Fuller's not going to be there for the start of the year because he's suspended. But they got Jalen Waddle. Devontae Parker's still there. I feel like with those types of weapons, they can take more shots with Tua. And he can get more confidence in his game.
Chuck G said they need to trade for Jalen Hurts so Tua will be inspired. It's not a bad point. Here's the thing. I just look at Tua and go, can you be – all right, what's the ceiling for Tua? I'm curious to see where your brain's at on this. You're not going to convince me one way or the other because I'm pretty dead set on where I'm at.
What do you mean, numbers-wise? What's the ceiling?
In terms of quarterbacks in the NFL, how good can he be? Best case scenario after what you saw in 10 games last year.
I'd say somewhere in that 15 range. He could be mediocre. He could be middle of the league.
20 to 22. That's the best I can put.
Best?
That's the best I can do.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to explain to me how he's going to be better than the guys he passes. How's he going to be better than Derek Carr? He's not. He's not. He doesn't have the raw tools to be better than Derek Carr. I'm going to be honest with you. His ceiling is Kirk Cousins. You put good weapons around him, he throws up numbers, and he's never a guy that you really feel like can take you to a Super Bowl. I don't buy him at all. I saw there was too much bad last year. And people get wrapped up into interception numbers and shit like that. Peyton Manning threw more interceptions his rookie year than any rookie quarterback ever has. Why? Because they trusted him immensely from the minute he stepped in the building. Guess what? Trevor Lawrence is going to do it this year. They put kid gloves on Tua. This was a playoff team. It's still a playoff team. And they put kid gloves on Tua. I think best case scenario for the Dolphins, the defense is really good. I like this defense a lot. You got to get things figured out with Xavien Howard. But I think the defense is really good. Can Tua continue to be a guy that just doesn't turn the ball over? He's captain check down. He improves the completion percentage to the 66, 68 range and just doesn't turn the ball over. There is a possibility of that. The problem is that then you get into the playoffs and you meet, in order, Justin Herbert, Ryan Tannehill, Carson Wentz, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes. You're not in the ballpark of any of the guys I just said. Baker, maybe. Maybe. And I think that's even a stretch. Jason Trump said in the comments, Tua equals Jimmy G. Jimmy G's better than Tua. Jimmy G's played one full season in his life. He wound up in the Super Bowl. Do you see a path of Tua being the... Can you see a path that Tua is the starting quarterback on a Super Bowl team?
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
All right. Equate him to a starting quarterback in a Super Bowl in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I can't do that.
There you go.
Yeah, I can't do that.
It's because there's not one. That was a trick question. I asked you a question with no answer.
Yeah.
I just look at him and go, you can build a team around him. And as long as he's on a rookie deal, you can build a hell of a team around him. Problem is you're never going to pay him. You're never going to pay him as an elite quarterback because he's not. He's not.
I think you're jumping to conclusions a little too soon.
Okay, riddle me this. Jalen Hurts, is he a good quarterback, yes or no?
No.
Mac Jones, is he a good quarterback, yes or no?
Yeah.
Let me ask a different way. Jalen Hurts, does he have an NFL arm?
I don't know.
High-level NFL arm?
No.
Does Mac Jones have a high-level NFL arm?
No.
No. Guess what? One of them went in the second round. One of them went in the first round because of what you put around them. Name me the USC quarterback that's been great in the NFL from the Pete Carroll days. Give you a hint. There ain't one. Carson Palmer's the best
closest,
by a mile, and that was at the very freaking beginning. I think there's a problem of Gray Ford said in the comments, Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson. Do you realize how long ago that was? Brad Johnson's a friend of ours. He grew up like 10 minutes from where we're sitting right now. He's known him for probably as long as I've been alive. I love Brad to death. And here's another thing people forget. Brad Johnson went to Pro Bowls. Trent Dilfer had the best defense in NFL history and a record-breaking running back. That's what I think you'd have to put around Tua for him to equate to a Super Bowl. And I think those years have passed.
No.
Do I think this could be a playoff team? Absolutely.
You don't think there'll ever be another Super Bowl champion that doesn't have a premier quarterback?
Only if they're on a rookie deal. I think that's where the league is at now. You either have to have the guy or you have to have a serviceable guy who's really cheap.
Right.
Because quarterback salaries have inflated so much. Now, that being said, that's where Miami's at. So your best case scenario, that's what this whole video is about. Best case scenario, you go 11-6. I'm looking at the schedule in front of me. Do you see a path they are better than 11-6?
No, probably
Because here's the
not.
thing, you're going to lose to Buffalo at least once.
Right.
You're going to lose at Tampa Bay. You're going to lose to Baltimore. You're probably going to lose to either the Jets or the Patriots at least once. Well, that's 4 right there. You're going to lose at Tennessee.
I put the Colts in there.
I already said the Colts.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got just a series of like Vegas, Atlanta, Carolina, New York Giants. You're probably going to drop one of those games.
Maybe.
History says average quarterbacks lose games to teams that are equitable in talent. I would say that there's a better quarterback on 2 of the 4 teams I just said.
Yeah. I think the Miami Dolphins can take a step forward this year. I think I'm still a believer. Last year did not show me what I wanted to see, and so I want to see another year. It's basically where I'm at with Tua. I believed in him so much coming out of college. I still believe that he can develop into a good quarterback. I'm not going to start throwing dirt on his career. I'm
not throwing dirt on him. He's going to play in the league for a long time.
He's never going to get re-signed.
He's never going to be the guy. You tell me, is there a path that he's a $40 million worthy of being the top 5 pick he was that you took in front of Justin Herbert?
I could see a path.
You're telling me you see a path that he ends up better than Justin Herbert?
No.
I will drug test you immediately if you say yes.
No.
There you go. That's going to be the problem. That's going to be, and I'm just telling you, this is a bigger topic to me.
Okay.
I'm getting to the point where I don't want to deal with Alabama quarterback, Clemson quarterback, Ohio State quarterback. You know why? Because they come in with outsized expectations because we watched them in college. Tua could come in and be a high-level version of, let's say he's a high-level Baker Mayfield. Got slightly better wheels. I think got a slightly more accurate arm, not as big of an arm. He could be that. And you know what people in Miami are going to say?
He's the greatest.
He's a bust, and he's the reason we're not winning Super Bowls. Because the team around him is good enough to be. Fact or fiction, the team around Tua is good enough. If Justin Herbert was quarterback of this team, this is a Super Bowl contender, yes or no?
Yes.
There you go. And the problem is you're always going to be compared to that. I don't think you're ever going to be that with Tua. Because let's face it, the team's not going to be better than they are right now. Fact or fiction, you have 2 of the 5 best corners in the NFL. You've padded the receiver room. No, you don't have a good running back, but got Gesicki. I like the offensive line. I like the defense. I think you're gonna be able to rush the passer. That's a lot of positives. And yet we still look at it and go, they're 10-7, 11-6, 12-5, best case scenario. Why? Because you don't have the guy at quarterback. But best case scenario, they can make the playoffs, and they can, I think, get just shellacked in the first round by whoever they play.
All right, a worst case scenario for the Miami Dolphins, it doesn't work.
Time to admit the mistake.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Tua doesn't start making better decisions. The receivers don't help out all that much, and he just looks lost, like he seemed to at times last year. It wasn't always there, but there were moments, and that's why the coaching staff kept pulling him out of games and going to Ryan Fitzpatrick, because this is the guy that gives us the best chance to lose. Now,
the biggest problem for Tua Tagovailoa is Justin Herbert. Period. That's the biggest problem for Tua Tagovailoa. Let's be real. Take off your teal and orange glasses, and before you tell me to go fuck myself in the comments, Dolphins fans, because I know it's coming.
Right.
See, we cut all these up and we release them individually, and then we put them out to fans, and there's a lot of them that tell me to go fuck myself. I want you to be real honest with what I'm getting ready to say. Justin Herbert played how many games last year?
What was it?
15.
15? 14.
Threw for 4,300 yards, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Fact or fiction, that would be the best season of Tua's career.
Fact.
We looked at it 15 years from now. That's the best year of his career. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Justin Herbert may beat that this year. That was in 15 games with a team that was decimated by injuries and coached by quite possibly the worst head coach I've ever seen. Adam Black asked me in the comments, did I ever buy into the Tua hype? I had him as I had a second round grade on him, didn't I?
Yeah.
I had a second round grade. I'd have to go back and verify that, but I had a second round grade on Tua. That's a little misleading because I don't tend to rate quarterbacks the same way that to me, you're either the guy or you're not. Now, here's the thing. I had a second round grade on Justin Herbert too. So I can't sit here and say, oh, I'm the infallible. What I said about Tua is that I think his ceiling is much lower than the majority of top 10 quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I think his floor is much higher, and that's why he went so high. To me, there's no possibility that he comes out and he's Dwayne Haskins. There is a safety in that. I also see no path that he's Justin Herbert. And that's kind of the give and take. Did I think he would be as bad as he was last year? Yeah, he was a rookie. Is he going to be better this year? Absolutely. Full year of camp. But I'll tell you the number one thing bothering me right now. Mm-hmm. What do I always say about training camps? The fantasy footballers have a line that I like but don't love. And the line is, believe the bad, don't believe the good. Because there's always good coming out of camp. Mm-hmm. That's bullshit. I love the believe the bad. If you start hearing bad, it's probably true. But the don't believe the good, I believe you believe the good if you hear it from everybody. If it's that obvious that every reporter is using that as their thing to report, then you can believe the good.
Right.
Always believe the bad. In 1 month, mini camps, OTAs, all that bullshit. He couldn't grasp the offense. Mm-hmm. He couldn't stop turning the ball over. Mm-hmm. He was uncomfortable last year as a starter. Mm-hmm. That's 3 different beat writers in Miami that said that. That's not me saying it. I didn't talk to the kid. I'm reading reports from people that do. That would scare me. That would scare me. I'm not grasping the offense. Plus, you got 2 offensive coordinators, which I don't think is conducive.
It's not. It's not conducive. Too many coordinators is like too many quarterbacks. If you don't know which way you're leaning to what offensive style you want, it's going to be confusing for everybody.
I like where this is headed. So Gray Ford just in the comments said 3 worst teams in the league. 3 worst teams in the league are the Texans, the Lions, and the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to be honest with you because and the reason that I said that is because it made me think of something that my ultimate comparison to Tua Tagovailoa is Jared Goff. That's exactly who he is. And the more I've thought about it since I read that, and that's exactly who he is. You can put weapons around him all day, and he'll be fine. And he got you to a Super Bowl. I just don't think he's ever going to get you over not ever going to get you over the mountaintop.
Yeah.
And that's my fear with Tua. I think he can be a good, serviceable quarterback in the NFL. And he's going to be Jared Goff. Mm-hmm. Now, worst case scenario, everything I just said goes down. Now, how do you feel about this team?
Bad.
If what I just said is true, you're going to lose to the Jets in New York. You will lose to New England once. You will lose to Buffalo twice. I think you would lose in Vegas. Mm-hmm. You'd lose to Indianapolis. You'd lose to Tampa Bay. I don't think Atlanta can come down and beat you.
No.
You lose to Baltimore.
Carolina. Giants.
Maybe you let one of those slip in Tennessee. 8-9. Yeah. It's the worst I can see. I've talked shit about Tua for 10 minutes here. Worst case scenario, you're 8-9.
Right.
Because the team's that damn good.
Problem is the expectation is Tua has the sophomore spike, and we get over the hump to get into the playoffs because we were tied for the playoff spot last year.
That's the one.
Right. It's going to be the expectation is greater than what Tua can provide to you.
I think the expectations are going to be what fucks him his entire career. Because we watched him. He beat out Jalen Hurts. He did all these things. We watched him in college. He's supposed to be the guy. He was the can't-miss tank for Tua.
Yep.
And he's not. I'll tell you another thing that's going to burn him. It's Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is better than him the second he steps on the field. With a bad coach, in a bad system, with all of the – it's not a good look. It's not a good look for Tua, and I think it's going to hurt him.
Right. The fact that he is going to be overshadowed by several quarterbacks drafted around his position is definitely going to hurt him. There's no doubt about it. The expectations are always going to be high in Miami, and they're not going to be satisfied with just knocking on the door of the playoffs. You got to make that leap to get them into the playoffs. I mean, can Tua Tagovailoa be the best Miami quarterback since Dan Marino? Sure, but that bar
means you're beating out Brian Greasy.
Right, that bar is not very high, guys. But that's what they're expecting. They're expecting Tua's going to come in and transform everything, and it's going to be Dan Marino, and this is going to be better than Dan Marino because we're actually going to win Super Bowls this time.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Is there a team in the NFL? Who is the team that you have in the NFL who you think their expectations are excised to who they are? They have the loftiest expectations for the team that they actually are.
I would say I'm going to go with New England because New England expects to win no matter who's out there.
New England's close. I take the Miami Dolphins. Because there are people out there, a lot of them, that think they can win this division.
Yeah.
Not a snowball's chance in hell. You don't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning this division. I'll be honest with you. I think you're closer to New England and the Jets than you are the Bills. Here's the thing. I think both of those teams are better than a lot of people do.
You're not.
The hate on New England has gotten stupid.